Yesterday marked the latest in President Trump's unprecedented series of U.S. tariffs that are designed to reshape the international trading system. We received confirmation that the latest reciprocal tariffs will not be imposed on Canada. The ambition of these measures is enormous. The effects on the global economy will be monumental.
Did you see the moment Mark Carney absolutely schooled Donald Trump on live TV? Trump thought he could bully Canada with his 25% tariffs, but he picked the wrong Canadian to mess with. The former Bank of England governor shut down Trump's economic nonsense faster than you can say stable genius. Trump's face turned from orange to red as Carney systematically dismantled his tariff fantasy piece by piece. This might be the most satisfying takedown of Trump's trade nonsense yet. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. Remember when Trump declared himself the ultimate tariff wizard? Well, he's at it again, folks. This time he's threatening a whopping 25% tariff on cars coming in from Canada, because nothing says I'm a stable genius like making Americans pay more for their vehicles. Let's look at what actually went down. There's Trump puffing his chest out about slapping these massive taxes on Canadian cars, acting like he's discovered some brilliant economic strategy.
At the same time, President Trump confirmed that the tariffs announced last week against our auto industry will come in, and indeed have come into effect today. Three different sets of U.S. tariffs remain in place and will continue to pose significant threats to Canadian workers and Canadian businesses. So while it's progress that further tariffs were not imposed on Canada yesterday, the President's actions will reverberate here in Canada and across the world.
25% on all cars coming across the border, he announces with that smug look that says he thinks he just checkmated the entire global economy. But then Mark Carney steps into the ring, and unlike Trump, Carney doesn't need to paint himself orange to get attention. He's got something called actual economic knowledge. While Trump is ranting about punishing Canada, Carney calmly drops the economic truth bomb. Those tariffs aren't punishing Canada, they're punishing American consumers. You could literally see Trump's face changing color as Carney explained how tariffs actually work. Picture this: money flowing directly from the pockets of everyday Americans straight into government coffers. That's what a tariff is. It's not some magical penalty that foreign countries pay. It's a tax that you pay when you buy imported goods. Trump's sitting there looking like someone just told him that hamburgers aren't a food group, while Carney's breaking down the economics with the patience of a kindergarten teacher, explaining why we don't eat glue. On one side, you've got Trump's "my gut tells me this" approach to international trade. On the other, you've got Carney, a trained economist delivering facts like a machine gun of knowledge. The most beautiful part was watching Trump getting more and more agitated while Carney maintained the composure of a British butler who just found out the Queen is stopping by.
You see the numbers are so disproportionate, they're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum baseline tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart? And that'll be on other countries to help
Millions of Canadians. We're going to fight these tariffs with countermeasures.
Subsidize a lot of countries and keep them going and keep them in business. In the case of Mexico, it's $300 billion a year. In the case of Canada, it's close to $200 billion a year.
We are going to protect our workers, and we are going to build the strongest economy in the G7.
Trump's trying to interrupt, probably scouring his brain for a random tweet to justify his latest brain fart, but Carney just keeps calmly explaining that these actions will end up hurting American workers and American consumers. It was like watching a chess grandmaster play against someone who thinks checkers and chess are the same game. Trump kept trying to flip the board, but Carney wasn't having it. While Trump was busy flipping the economic chessboard, his understanding of supply chains was about as sophisticated as a toddler trying to build a skyscraper with Play-Doh. The Ambassador Bridge connecting Detroit and Windsor isn't just some random road, it's the steel artery pumping a quarter of all US-Canada trade across the border. When Carney presented this fact, Trump's face transformed into what experts might call economic reality shock.
In the United States, and Donald Trump has announced he is going to double the tariffs imposed on Canadian steel and aluminium.
Governor of Ontario on the weekend saying that he would impose tariffs on electricity coming into the United States. And so Donald Trump, in response, has issued this extremely lengthy tweet, or 50% on steel and aluminium. He seems to be taking no notice of the turmoil in the markets, which have lost all of their gains.
These tariffs directly threaten the jobs of over 500,000 hardworking Canadians supported by the auto industry, Carney stated, his voice steady as a surgeon explaining why you shouldn't perform your own appendectomy. The auto manufacturing process isn't a one-country affair. It's like a basketball being passed back and forth across the border multiple times before becoming the final product. As animated graphics popped up on screen showing how car parts zigzagged between the two countries like a drunken bee, Trump's confusion became increasingly apparent. You could almost see the question marks floating above his head. The same vehicles he wants to slap with tariffs contain American-made parts that would get taxed when they return as completed cars. It's like punching yourself in the wallet and then blaming Canada for your bruised hand.
Have been imposed under different premises. Some things are consistent. They are all unjustified, unwarranted, and in our judgment, misguided. That's 3,600 workers who are now out of work, not by their choice. Workers who now worry how they're going to put food on the table and pay their bills. Just last evening, workers from Unifor Local 444, with whom I met last week, learned that their auto assembly plant in Windsor will be shutting down for at least the next 2 weeks.
Trump tried interrupting. Nobody knows tariffs better than me, believe me. But Carney wasn't having it. He continued laying out facts like a dealer spreading cards in a game Trump didn't know how to play. These ties of kinship and commerce are being broken by your actions, Carney explained as Trump's tiny fingers drummed impatiently on the table. The former banker then dropped his trump card, pun absolutely intended, Canada's retaliation plan. We are prepared to respond with trade actions designed to have maximum impact on the United States while minimizing the impact on Canada, Carney declared. Translation: we know exactly which American industries to target to cause the most political pain. Trump's America First policy was suddenly looking more like America isolated and paying higher prices for everything. The crowd fell silent as Carney methodically explained how automotive plants in Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, you know those swing states Trump desperately needs, would suffer the most. Workers in those states might start wondering why their champion was threatening their livelihoods just to look tough on TV. So there you have it, folks. The self-proclaimed stable genius just got schooled by someone who actually knows what they're talking about. Mark Carney didn't just dismantle Trump's tariff nonsense. He exposed the orange turd's complete inability to grasp basic economics. It's like watching a 5-year-old challenge a chess grandmaster and then throw a tantrum when they lose. The biggest myth busted today wasn't about tariffs. It's that grumpy Trumpy understands anything at all about how international trade works. His economic knowledge is about as real as his natural hair color. Want more Trump myth busting? Smash that subscribe button and tell us in the comments which of Donnie Diaper's economic fantasies we should flush next.